If you are learning German, you've most likely at some point felt that whole feeling of feeling stuck and that you're not making progress. And maybe you've thought to yourself, maybe I'm not just good at languages. Have you considered this fact that maybe, just maybe, the reason you are not getting fluent within German is not because you are not good at languages and because you're not putting in the effort, but maybe you are stuck with the wrong habits that are kind of holding you back with this journey of actually learning German. Maybe the approach you are using with German is just not the right one. Hello, I am Melk, a medical doctor from Uganda. I live in German, and one of the things I enjoy doing actually is learning German. It's one of the things that I just enjoy doing. Today, let me share with you these 5 habits that could be slowing down your learning of the German language and how you can actually fix them. Now, habit number 1 could be that you are learning the grammar the wrong way. Yes, let's face a fact. German grammar is a bit complicated compared to English grammar. If you're somebody who is coming from the English world and you want to learn German, you might find the grammar a bit complicated. The mistake very many learners make when it comes to learning German and the grammar and everything is they kind of try to compare German grammar to English grammar. The two simply don't go together because German grammar is totally different in a way. Almost all verbs are always finding themselves in a second position, or when there is a comma and it's making a Nebensatz, the verb is maybe going either in the first position after that sentence or it's going at the very end. You see, the rules keep on changing altogether. So if you are somebody who is trying to learn German grammar and you are learning it by comparing it to English grammar, then you're getting it all wrong together. The solution here is for you to decouple your whole English grammar. Just forget about your English grammar and simply accept German the way it is. Don't try to make it make sense in English. Learn it the way it is coming at you. One of the ways of knowing how to go about that, of course, it's by mastering the rules. Like I've said above, that always the verb comes in a second position, but also the other technique is learn in chunks. Learn sentences as they go. Don't try to break them down and understand why it is so and so. That can actually come later, but in the moment, if you are simply just beginning and you're feeling like you're stuck, learn in chunks. For example, statements like "Wie geht's dir?" "Wie geht's dir?" When you actually want to translate that statement, it kind of translates like, how is it going for you? Wie geht es dir? How is it going for you? So literally in German, there is no word saying, how are you doing? The statement is wie geht's dir. But when you break down that statement, it is how is it going for you? And then the reply is, it is going for me well. Mir geht's gut. Es geht mir gut. You get the point? So if you try to break it down and be like, oh, how does it actually fit in English? How do these words fit together? How can I exactly translate it word for word? Then you're going to have a problem of being stuck. Forget about English, learn German on the go as it comes. It starts to make sense later, but in the meantime, just flow with the flow of actually learning the language. So one of the mistakes that I made is when I was learning the statement, "Wie geht's dir?" Do you know what came to my mind? I actually used to think that when they say "Wie geht's dir," I used to think the other person is saying, how are you doing, dear? I used to be like, oh, Germans are very kind. They just call everybody dear, and now they're calling me dear. But I later on got to understand that, man, that's not the meaning altogether. It means something totally different. How is it going for you? How are you doing? So don't try to translate everything. Don't try to make it make sense in English. Just learn in huge chunks. Now, bad habit number 2 is that you try to learn everything on the go when it comes to vocabulary. If you are somebody who is scavenging for words, you want to know what that is called, you want to know what that is called, and you're learning everything without having a proper plan, it will basically lead to mental burnout. And then you feel like, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm just not making progress. I am putting in the effort, but I'm not learning the way I should. So the technique is try to learn relevant things. When it comes to vocabulary, learn the things which are relevant within that sense. But also, for example, when I was using the app Anki, basically I was compartmentalizing my input within Anki and my output on my revision, so that in one sitting, I am not trying to make new cards and at the same time trying to study new cards. So that frees a lot of space up for you and you learn words better, collect new words, but don't add them in one sitting. That system kind of helps, map out the whole road for you so you don't overwhelm your brain with mental burnout and all this exhaustion that makes you feel like, I'm making every effort, but I'm not learning the language. What's happening? Maybe German is just hard. No, that's actually a bad habit. You have to be organized in the way you're doing things, and that really helps. It kind of gives you a sense of control. You feel like you are in control of the language and it's not controlling you. Now, bad habit number 3 is overly relying on apps. Apps should actually be the tool for you to learn the language and not the source. So I have been in German for the past 2 years, but I have never come across a single person who has learned German just by using Duolingo. No, many of these apps are actually too gamified, and sometimes they give you a false sense of confidence just because you can play a few games here and you feel like, oh, I finished my cards for the day, or I have played my game for the day, and maybe now I think like I am kind of confident, I'm becoming fluent. No, actually, that's false confidence. These apps, I believe they are good and they should be used to support you. They should just be supportive, but not the resources for you to learn. Majorly, the apps I have kept on referring to here is Anki, because with Anki, yes, the texts are there, the cards are there, but it gives you the autonomy for you to make your own cards. So that means you are putting in some work. So don't rely on Duolingo and think that you're going to become very efficient at the language. Duolingo should be a supportive app on top of a more primary teaching way. In other words, it's better even if you enroll to a language school and then just kind of add on to that. For example, if you followed my story, you know that I enrolled to language school. I would recommend the same thing. Enroll to language school. Have a real primary source of learning the language. And the other thing is listen to podcasts. Podcasts is a way of listening to Muttersprachler, the native speakers. As they speak, you're learning the language with the subtitles. Now, the fourth bad habit is never speaking. Niemals zu sprechen. I have met people who have studied the language and gone on to even B1 and B2, but they are waiting for the right moment. They're waiting for the right time where they'll make no mistake for them to be able to speak. That's not a good habit. That's a bad habit. Speak the language from the word go. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't be that one person who has memorized so many words, so many things, and they always give excuses of like, after all, I understand. Know your words, but also know how to put them together to make sentences. Try to speak from the word go. Don't try to postpone speaking to some future occasion of perfection, because that moment of, oh, it's now perfect will not come. Speaking wrong in the right direction is better than being right in silence. So speak wrong, you'll be corrected and you'll improve. So here are the three things actually what speaking does to you. Speaking actually activates your brain into thinking in the language, and then the other thing is it makes the vocabulary stick very well. The other thing is it builds your confidence, because ultimately you start to realize that actually you can express yourself here and there. So you're, having some confidence. And what you want to do in a language is gain the confidence to be able to use it. Actually, when you just come to think about it, consider how kids learn the language. When they start speaking, they simply speak. They will murder the grammar. They will mumble. They will just speak the way they are speaking. Daddy, yesterday I have went. They just murder the grammar altogether without giving a rip at all. They don't care whatsoever they are speaking. Ultimately, they are corrected and they learn how to speak the language, of course, but they really spoil the grammar. What do we call it? They don't do the language justice. Now, as you grow up, that fear of making mistakes kind of starts to creep up to you and you feel like, maybe I shouldn't be making a mistake. Whereas it's a good fear, it actually holds back so many people into stepping out of the comfort zone, because as adults, you've been punished so much for making mistakes and you don't want to make any mistakes again. So it kind of holds us down from making the real progress that we need. And if you're somebody who needs the language to make the progress you need in German, then you have to simply get over the fear, get comfortable with being wrong and being corrected without feeling like somebody is going to die because you made a mistake. So guys, don't wait. Just put out those statements. Trust me, it makes a whole huge difference. If you feel like the video is speaking to you and some things are resonating with you, please just smash that like button. It helps push it further. So the last bad habit is expecting quick results without real strategy. That's one of the mistakes so many people make, and I really believe that life is about strategizing in everything. You cannot just kind of leave everything to chance. Without having a real strategy of how you can learn the language and make progress, it won't help you. Have some real strategy of revising the language. Know when you are reading. Know when you are putting in the language, which includes reading and listening. Know when you're putting out the language. That means speaking and writing. These four aspects are very important, and for me that's real strategy. Nobody can learn the language very effectively without paying attention to these four things. If you want to actually go into detail of how you can divide up your learning into input and output, and how you can maximize everything and have a wonderful speed and achieve the language learning very quickly, please check out this video. In this video here, I go into much detail of how I was personally able to come up with this strategy and do this very fast. That helped me to then apply for my medical licensing exam that ultimately I did and passed. Yes, check out that video and smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next one, bye and peace.